What's up, world? Welcome back. My name is Nicholas Coriano, professional business plan writer, former Wall Street executive, employee, and graduate of business school and law school. I'm here to teach you guys about how to project financial projections for your startup. So I get this question all the time. How do I project my startup expenses and revenues when I'm just starting up and I've never started this business before? So it's a pretty simple model to follow when you're doing this. In the business plan, again, I'm a professional business plan writer. I can write your business plan for you. You can go to my website for me to do that, but I'll explain how you should be able to model your financial projections, your costs, and your sales. So the first thing you want to do is gather market research and industry analysis and industry research. What does this mean? This means if you're going to open up a restaurant in Georgia, in Macon, Georgia, you want to know how many people are in Macon, Georgia. You want to know what percentage of those people you think go out to restaurants, right? And then that's going to act as a basis of assumption. How many people you can capture out of those people will be discussed depending on the industry analysis. So then what you're going to do is you're going to do an industry analysis report, right? You're going to find out what do restaurants make in that area, right? You can do this a couple ways. You can, there's industry reports that you can get from IBIS World or Statista or Bloomberg, these research portals that put together these reports. You can do really hard reconnaissance, right? You can actually walk into restaurants and see how many people are going there every Friday or park in the parking lot and see how many people are going in and out of those restaurants. But once you have the market demographics, so the market research will tell you how many people, what their ages are, their sex, where they live, their income, right? That's the market demographics. And then you have the industry demographics or input research. It's called a couple things, right? Now you can start to form an assumption. You can say, well, the industry says that, most restaurants are running at 40% margins, depending on what you're selling, right? Every restaurant's different, but this kind of restaurant runs at 40% margins, and we believe that we can attract a certain amount of the population based on the next factor, your marketing, right? So people always ask me, is it realistic to make $1 million in your first year of business? Well, generally speaking, the answer is no, but it depends, right? Are you putting $10 million in marketing? It's not that crazy that you might make $1 million the first year, right? So it really depends on your marketing plan, which is why the business plan is structured the way it is. Most business plans, you have an executive summary that kind of summarizes everything. That's always written last because you need all the other pieces of the puzzle. But then you have, your company description, which tells you the products and services and where it's going to be located. And then right after that, you go into the market research and the industry analysis. After the market research and industry analysis, you put together a management organizational plan. These are the human resources you need, right? And then you put together a marketing plan and then the financial projections. The reason the financial projections are at the end is because you need all those other inputs. You need the market research, you need the industry analysis, you need the marketing plan, and you need to put together a basis of assumption on your market research and your marketing plan together that you can project out, right? Your financial projections for your startup. So again, another example. So let's say I'm starting a retail operation in Herkimer, New York, right? Little Herkimer, New York. You want to find out how many people are in town. Well, there's only 7,000 people in town. Well, I don't know if this is going to work, right? Can we capture all of them? Well, maybe we might not have to capture all of them if the product or the service is priced high enough, right? So if you're selling a $5,000 item or $5,000 profit item like a car, right? You're selling cars and each car you sell is $5,000 profit. Well, you don't need to sell 7,000 of them. Maybe you only sell 20 of them a year, right? And those 20 times 5, you're $100,000 a year in profit. Can you capture 20%, 20 people out of those 7,000? Well, how did you market? Did you reach the whole 7,000 people through Facebook ads? Did you put up a billboard that you think half of the population is going to drive by? Those are your assumptions, okay? So those are your assumptions, but they have a basis. So your basis of assumption, what they call it, is based on the fact that you did your market research. You know how many people are in town, what their ages are, what their demographics are, what their income is, right? And other factors depending on what you're selling. And then you know what the industry is doing, right? You know that you can sell a car for a $5,000 profit, or you know you can run a restaurant at a 40% margin. So that's the basics of when you're projecting out your sales or your income. Right? When you talk about your expenses, it kind of works the same way. They usually scale with income. Your variable costs will scale with income, and your fixed costs stay fixed. So your rent is going to stay the same no matter what, right? Unless you open up another location. But your rent's going to stay the same. Let's say my electric bill, absent anything else, anything crazy, it's going to stay the same. But my variable costs, let's say in my business where I write business plans, right? My electric, my rent might stay the same, but let's say my paper, my copier, right? It may run more depending on the more clients I get in, or let's say what do you call it, marketing expenses, right? They may go up depending on how many more clients I want to come in. So those are the variable expenses, right? The expenses that go up and down depending on how many people come in. So when you're projecting your startup, the biggest thing is to study the industry, study the market. That'll give you the basis of assumption for your sales. It'll give you the basis of assumption for cost a lot of times, because and then hardcore research, right? In absence of getting these big subscriptions or hiring a professional business plan writer to do your financial projections, do the research, right? Go ask the owner of a company that's going to be similar to the one you're starting. Now, if you're saying that, there's nothing like yours in the world, then you either haven't looked hard enough at a strong comparable, right? Or you're lying to yourself, right? But usually there's some kind of comparable. Even in markets where there is no comparable, let's take a car like Tesla, right? A lot of people look at the Tesla and they say, well, it's not a car. It's more than a car company, because it is, right? It's partially a computer. It's partially a car. It's a car, but it can act as an Uber in the future, right? If the thing drives itself. So then you're talking about a logistics company or delivery for UPS. Instead of a UPS driver, the Tesla can go and take the thing. So when you start that, you say to yourself, well, there's no product like it in the marketplace, but there are segments of the market that you can look at for your industry research. So, before you enter that market, you can say, well, what is the auto industry doing? Okay, if we think we're going to tackle logistics, what's the logistics industry doing? Okay, if we think we're going to tackle telecommunications, because all these cars are going to be driving around with Wi-Fi on them, what is the telecommunications industry doing? And then you can kind of start forming an assumption, a basis, right? So you're not saying, hey, we think we're going to make X and the market doesn't even tolerate X, right? That's like me saying, I'm opening up a car dealership in Herkimer, New York. I'm only going to service the town of Herkimer, and I'm going to sell 14,000 cars a year. Well, there's only 7,000 people, right? There's no possible way you can do that unless maybe there's another strategy, or maybe you're selling outside of the county or outside of the city. But that's generally, I get this question all the time. How do I project startup expenses? And that's how you do it. You find the basis of assumption within your market research and industry analysis, and there's a multiplier in your marketing plan, right? So the marketing plan is a catalyst to how you're going to attack the industry and the market research that you just did, and the market that's available as an opportunity. The more creative you get in your marketing, the better the ROI, right? So if you can spend, $20,000 to reach 100,000 people, and another guy only has to spend $1,000 to reach 100,000 people, well, his margins are going to be higher and he's going to be more profitable. So keep that into consideration. If you have any other questions, or if you want somebody to write your business plan, I'm always available to write my clients' business plans, everything from the small startup to public companies. I can definitely help you out. So give me a ring. I have my phone number on the bottom of my website, nicholascoriano.com. And yeah, comment under the video. Let me know any of your experiences. I get back to the comments occasionally. Subscribe to the page, like it, and share it if you think it'll help anybody. Have a good day, guys.